This conference will now be recorded.
So welcome to EC Payroll, our learning journey. So as we have discussed in the last session, just we had an expectation setting. What is your aspiration? What you would like to understand? What is our learning journey will be like? So actually, I'll be keeping that in mind, and accordingly, we will go together in our entire this curriculum. And as and when required, if I'm little slow or little faster, feel free to stop me there. Okay. Many times
Yeah.
actually I get a feedback. I'm little faster sometimes. So that's how. So anyway, you're already an expert already in East payroll side. So I think the pace will be okay for you. So let's see. Yeah. So in the entire learning journey, this is our the entire curriculum. Like if you talk about the documentation content, but I think yes, last session did I show this one to you?
Yeah, you showed this, but you haven't shared, and you also said you may make some changes or
Ah,
maybe
yes.
not. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I'll be changing it. The main major changes what I will be doing in this to this document is, so you can see the first document as usual. Actually, it is an official PTO guide as usual for any other module SAP SuccessFactors provides. That is nothing changed here. So for admin guide, I have an attached an QRG as well. So for similarly, recently for point-to-point replication as well, SAP has came up with a new QRZ guide. So that is more step-by-step process. People who are not having access to system as well, they can have get a flavor of what are the things that goes on inside your P2P integration. So all those hands-on are there. So that one document which I'll be just adding after this line number 9. Okay, that document I'll be adding. And other than that, in the second towards the last, so the topic number 27 actually. So this is by the deck, whatever the deck I'm using in the entire training. Okay, so that I keep on adding something and which is not more relevant for that, then I just remove those things. Okay, so this is actually a live document. So page till page number 2428, it is almost very much similar. Only I'll be adding that point to point QRZ guide, and on the top of that, this live session decks, whatever deck we will be using, that deck will be running document. So it will be so anyway, today what I will do, I will send the current one. Okay, so in the meanwhile you go through it, then towards the end what I will do, I'll be just editing the last section, and that will embed into that, and I'll be sending a final draft of that. Okay? Is that fine?
Yeah, very good. That's all right.
Yeah, yeah. So in this also you'll be seeing certain section actually I have highlighted. So you can see the serial number 2, 9, 10, 11, and similarly 16 and 17 and 23. This is from a certification point of view. People who are looking for certification, they do not have to go through entire thing. Okay, only thing as per the official certification guidelines by SAP. Okay, so if you're going to those specific highlighted section, then that is more than enough, because it is not easy to go through 3,400 pages for any certifications. Okay, so I recommend to those very specific those line item. Okay, so anyway, let's start it. So these things you already might be knowing. So like from licensing point of view, what do you think? Like, do you require a different license or how is it? Just for a quick Q&A, so that I will take it a kind of a adaptive learning for you.
Yeah, as far as I remember, Niladri, from the UK one, so they took the whole suite, EC and ECP, but you can't run ECP on premise, meaning
Exactly.
you cannot use P2P on premise. That is something which I don't know why SAP hasn't done it. But
Okay.
as far as getting payroll on cloud is concerned, you would need either ECP from SAP. You will have to procure licenses for that, and you will have to tell SAP a similar thing how it went in the past about on-premise, that how many, which countries you would be running payroll for, because ECP again is not they are rolling it out in clusters. I don't know if it has been extended to all the countries yet or not, but yeah, so that's my understanding.
Exactly. So you're absolutely correct. So when it comes to EC payroll, we require still as of now also it is a different license and it runs on your on-premise EHP 7 or EHP 8, whatever. It is still in S4 HANA, it doesn't come into this picture. Okay. Suppose if you are having S4 HANA Finance, then if you're integrating with EC payroll, still you have to do an ALE IDOC. Okay, those concepts you have to still use. Okay, so that is still same, and nothing has been changed. So we require particular license for EC payroll as well. Only if you're having EC license, that will not work for your EC payroll. You have to procure license for your EC payroll separately. Whatever, even if you are having license for EC, okay. So because those are from a licensing perspective, both are two separate products. Okay, so this is just some quick questions like you, and this is a very simple one. This is already you are aware of. Employee Central is a prerequisite for EC payroll. Okay, so that is as EC payroll. Employee Central is the system of record. Okay, without that you can't go ahead with the EC payroll implementation, at least as of now. Because EC payroll is not a purely cloud-based payroll system. Okay, so like it has a dependency on your on-premise thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe in the future it is in the roadmap, but still SAP has not officially declared it. They are planning for it, but still that will take more time. Okay. And same goes with your time management. It is also not part of your EC payroll. It is a different product. Okay, the same thing. I just highlighted those things here. And what about those schemas? And suppose if you have a lot of customization in your schema, okay. Well, generally clients have asked, they have their own perspective. Like if I've done a lot of customization, whether it can, am I a good candidate for to move to EC payroll or not? So the answer is yes and no, both. Like there are certain things like some core. Actually, it is a standardized product. Still, the schema actually will not be hard stop for you. Whatever the customization schema you have done, those schemas, operations, function, it will not be a hard stop. But still, if you have done a lot of customization at the body level or any enhancement you have done, so then those custom enhancement you have to revisit before you start your EC payroll project. Okay, so you have to
Yeah.
understand how and is there any uh, means others workaround for that, or is there any thing which you can do before, because it may or may not happen that body or those enhancement may or may not work in the EC payroll environment. So those kind of change management activity or analysis, so before that can be also a small mini project kind of thing, you can say. Suppose if it is a client is having a long say it is in more industry, multiple countries, or they have based out of say they have more than 10,000 or 20,000 employee base, more than that. Okay, so then the complication of payroll is also there, and they have also concept of union. So in those cases you have to revisit. Okay, so whenever you are upgrading, it is not an upgrade, rather a new implementation. We do not call EC payroll is an upgrade project, rather we call it a fresh implementation only. Even if you are having, if you are a customer of your on-premise HCM payroll, okay, so we consider it as a new or fresh implementation only. So these are the different points, actually the most frequently asked questions from the customer. Okay, so that is
Yeah.
just so any comments here,
Well,
any do you
yeah.
have?
So yeah, not comments, but this is good. I'm happy that you are revisiting these items. These are really good and eye
Mhm.
eye openers and revisions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So SAP, uh, as far as enhancements and user exits, baddies
Hmm.
are concerned,
Hmm.
at the info type level, uh,
Hmm.
they make you do this exercise just to
Hmm.
make sure that none of those are causing any
Hmm.
issues with P2P. So that's their
Exactly.
biggest concern, because
Hmm.
lot of those enhancements, user
Hmm.
exits, they
Hmm.
run with the concept of either PBO, process before output, or
Hmm.
PAI, process after
Yeah.
input. And
After in.
and yes, and P2P can have some contradiction with it. So that's why. but
Hmm.
up to a great extent, you can customize ECP as well. Only
Yeah.
place where they would say no, there
Hmm.
where there will be a conflict between integration or anything new in ECP. And as you rightly said,
Hmm.
schema, no questions asked. And even at some point, if you need a custom info type, right, that
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
also be done in ECP. But
Yes.
that's where SAP just needs some clarification that
Yes.
it won't cause any P2P issues. And in
Hmm.
fact, in schema, you would have seen those functions and operations, right? You can
Exactly.
get custom functions also. SAP wouldn't
True. True.
bother. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
so it's pretty good actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So why I put it across, because many of the people again they ask, even the consultants get confused. Like sometimes if a client asks what will happen to my custom schema, so people, the some of the consultants actually they confuse the client. It is this cloud offering, can't customize much, but that is not exactly the case. There are customization. SAP sells it. EC payroll they sells it like highly customizable. The pre-sales
Yeah.
people guy will be telling the customer, but some of the consultants who are not expert in the schema, they will try to avoid that, and they will tell, no, 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 you can't do this, you can't do that, it is a cloud offering. It's not like that exactly, to be honest. So schema, up to what level the SAP supports, that you can do whatever changes, functions, as you have rightly mentioned, functions, you can write your custom functions, custom rules. So that is actually, it's a very flexible. But when it comes to programming, so as you have already highlighted, some ABAP, as an ABAP, like the, I also remember like those PBO and PAI, those long back I did it, but still I can remember, I can recall those. So those things also you have to see, revisit. Listen exercises for the entire audience or your customer side as well as for consultant. Okay, so you have to revisit. But this is actually an most important question. Generally, my customer actually wherever I go, actually they ask these key things. That's XYZ consultants from XYZ ABC organization told like this. Is it a true? So though sometimes I got into also audit project, like somebody else implemented, and we have to revisit their implementation, whether they have implemented correctly or not. That is a very short term project. You have to just find out the error, whatever the mistake other vendor has done or other implementation partner have done. So those kind of projects are a little tricky. So in those cases I came across this kind of questions. So for that reason I just tried to put my experience and just highlighted here. Okay. So the next query generally another people ask, like some of the people, can I use third-party add-ons? Yes, but it is recommended you have to use whatever has been certified by SAP. So there are certified vendors in SAP App Space for different implementation partner. They put their product in the SAP App Center. Okay, and how to check all those things? Is there, and what are the do's and don'ts? There is a specific note which actually will be helpful for you. So the note number I have mentioned for your reference. In the future, whenever you're working on any third-party add-on, just have a look on that. Okay, so that will be helpful for you. Hmm. This is regarding third-party add-on. Then another query general people ask, like, do you have a template whenever you are integrating with your finance? Okay, so you do not have to. Many people think like, suppose is S4 HANA, suppose if you're implementing integration with S4 HANA Finance, they would like to have an interface. So you do not have to create any kind of interface, to be honest. So there is a standard interface available already. Only thing is you need to build that distribution model in ALE and RFC and all those stuff. But you do not have to build any kind of custom interface whenever you are integrating your EC payroll and your SFA finance. Okay, so that is very straightforward. We do have standard integration available, and as soon as you start posting your payroll results, automatically your those things will be posted, and there are some minimum configuration you have to do as a functional consultant, those ALE distribution model which we'll be discussing in the length in the future. Okay, so that is another thing. So we do not have require any custom interface for it. So this is another query people generally ask. And another thing, like so you must be were asking like BSI last time also we have discussed. So for BSI, you have to suppose your client is working on US payroll. So they are having, I think in Canada also you use BSI, right? Lokesh, if I'm correct.
No.
You
No.
do not have?
So BSI is only for US payroll.
Hmm.
However, BSI as a company, because
Hmm.
it's a separate company from SAP,
Hmm.
they have their own Canadian payroll offering. Meaning, if you ask BSI that you want to do Canadian payroll,
Hmm.
they will provide you certification and license for their software to process Canadian payroll. But that
Okay.
has nothing to do with SAP Canada payroll, because tax
Okay.
calculation in
Hmm.
SAP Canada payroll, all
Hmm.
the statutory rules are built within SAP. However, in US,
Hmm.
some of the rules, unemployment insurance, etc., are
Hmm.
within SAP.
Hmm.
Entire garnishment is within SAP.
Hmm.
However, federal, state taxes and local taxes and social security and Medicare taxes are
Hmm.
within BSI.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Got it. Because long back I worked on this 2011 around. So at present I'm not able to recall what I did, but what I have seen in the BSI website, it says like for Canada payroll also they're not
So
mentioning SAP.
that's their offering, which has
Okay,
nothing to do with SAP. That's
SAP.
like you approach BSI. For example, Kronos and
Hmm.
Workforce Software have their payroll systems as well. But that
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't mean SAP
Hmm.
uses Kronos for payroll processing. But
Hmm.
Kronos has payroll software too.
Hmm.
So, but that is their separate business as far as BSI Canada payroll is concerned.
Got your point. Got your point. So basically, here what I'm focusing. So for that reason, the question also very straightforward here. Like US payroll, still, if I'm using US payroll, do I still need BSI? Yes, you need still BSI. But the thing is, if you're using your BSI on premise or the whatever, so the tax engine, whatever you're using, you have to upgrade your license. So there is a BSI SaaS subscription. So you need to plan that separately because those are again two different offerings. What I understood from BSI. So you have to upgrade your license to BSI SaaS subscription. Then only you'll be able to have those integration or whatever required. Okay. So that is the thing you have to remember whenever you're planning for US payroll. Okay. So that is regarding from a BSI perspective. Then next one, like, can I subscribe to an additional ECP instance for testing? So then this is for a larger customer. What I have seen, generally, as ECP provides, there are three types of instance they will be giving. One is a development, QA, and production. Three URL they will be providing to you directly. You can directly use in your SuccessFactors instance for using single sign-on and SML 2.0 those configurations. And on the top of that, so if you require some additional test instance, then again, how the contract has been signed with your with SAP. So they may give an additional instance if it is required. So this is some of the, it's not very important question. Two instances is more than enough. Even in my last two projects, only I have used quality and your production. Okay, so only the waste type, all the core configuration I have done in the development, I moved into the quality, and quality was connected to your preview system of SuccessFactors, and production to the production of SuccessFactors. Then whatever the changes, as usual, I did it in the development and I moved into TR, through TR into QA. Then the same thing I have done. I never required this, but if it is a larger customer and if you are looking for something additional test tenant, okay, so ideally it is not necessary, but if the client is still looking for, then that may be depending upon how the contract has been signed. Okay, so ideally this would want to be no charges, but it's subject to change. Like many times this contract has been actually they they say something and sometimes they're subject to change something. Okay, so you have to contact your sales partner from SAP for this thing. Okay, so this is regarding a tenant and the test tenant and everything.
Just one
And
very quick
yeah,
question, Ladri. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
nothing too complicated,
Hmm.
but uh, just remind me, please, when you get these instances and
Hmm.
clients, right?
Hmm.
You can have various clients also. You can have
Yeah.
multiple development clients of ECP as you have it in that last paragraph, or QA
Hmm.
client.
Hmm.
So, in the traditional world, that setting up of the whole landscape for transport management system, meaning your transport requests, etc., used to happen with the basis help. In the
Yes.
new world, in ECP, most of the basis work has been taken away by SAP. They do it. So, who does this for ECP landscape, the whole transport management mechanism? Is it SAP, or you would still need your local basis consultant to connect all these systems for transport, etc.?
Okay, so it's a very valid question. So I will just tell my experience in the last two projects what I have done. So typically SAP says they will be taking care of everything, but it is not exactly the case. Okay, so still you need SAP basis consultant. Still that transportation manager or entire TR movement. So you can take help from SAP, but again they will be asking if you have having a basis consultant, then you consult your internal basis consultant. They will tell, or if the client is having their internal basis consultant, then he or she will be doing that. Okay, but the same TR movement, whatever my experience, my basis consultant was doing for me. Okay, so that is from my experience. But when it comes, whenever we are given access to the entire landscaping, whenever you see that, I'll be explaining in a next session maybe. So what exactly SAP does, there is a note for that. Okay, so whenever you're getting those instance access, SAP will be giving one particular user which is having all the access to configure your entire EC payroll. Okay, but whenever your basis consultant, what he or she will be doing, you will just copy that user, whatever SAP has provided, then he will be creating 3 or 4 user. Okay, which will be having almost all the permission, but there will be some restriction as well. Some of the configurations access is not given, some editable, some things is missing in that. Generally I face those challenges in my that I'll be telling you. So still there are some permissions are not there. Okay, like suppose debugging, suppose if you are doing a debug in the, due to some issue you are trying to debug in the web GUI, that you are not allowed. Okay, so for that you may require SAP GUI for that. And to have a SAP GUI, again for EC payroll you need a VPN connection. Okay, there are a lot of stories in the back end. Okay, I will definitely explain in another session what are the different steps you have to follow from the landscaping point of view. But as you have rightly asked here, I'll explain you like still you need a help from SAP basis consultant here. It's not like it is already taken by EC payroll, okay, but you have to make both EC from your SAP side as well as your SAP basis consultant will be part of your team, or it may be part of the client team. Okay, so you have to take help from them as well. All the activities will not be done by whatever I have seen. It is not done by your and EC SAP side actually. Does that answer your query? I will definitely explain in more detail.
No, it does. It does. It's very good. And I've also made a note at some point in future, whenever we'll touch base, if you are showing landscape or anything interesting, then we can go into the detail. But that was
Yeah.
indeed very helpful.
Okay, sure. So even actually there is a note for that. Like SAP also tells you have to read through this note and you have to create multiple roles on that from your EC payroll side, like EC payroll administrator, EC payroll, your manager. So multiple roles you have to create, and SAP will be providing the standard role. Then they will be asking, take help from your SAP basis consultant, copy those roles, and same activity you have to do. So nothing easy, like means that doesn't mean SAP will take doing all the things. Okay, so those things is a great story. Actually, I'll be sharing later on. But for the timing, just yes, you have to take help from your basis consultant here. Yeah, that's my answer. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So the next one is like is ECP is based on on-prem payroll engine. Does it have the same end of standard maintenance date as SAP ERP HR does? Okay. So again, many of the customers they're actually worried about if suppose they are trying to save their cost by not upgrading to S4 HANA or HANA based system. So they are actually planning for them. SAP has already extended till 2030. Okay, previously they told on-premise will go till 2025. Okay, so still they have extended, but when it comes to EC payroll, that licensing, that expiry period is not applicable. Okay, so those maintenance date, all those things, it's not applicable for EC payroll. Suppose if you're doing anything, your say learning solution, if you're using standard on-premise learning solution or any other module like PMS, okay, so then those expiry date is applicable for those module, but for EC payroll it is not applicable as it is a separate product. They are selling it from the on-premise, okay, so the development support anything from licensing perspective it is independent. So that is another, some of the European customers actually they have asked in one of the projects how about it. So for that reason I just kept this question. It may be future it's something some people may ask to you as well during any kind of pre-sales activity or BD activity. So this is the thing. Another thing, this is actually we have already asked, like, so how many countries are now supported, and can we still use your concept of international payroll, that is Molga 99? Yes, SAP is actually extending, means the number of countries for every 6 months or every quarter they keep on adding. Last quarter they've added Egypt in the EC payroll module, but still your Molga 99 is supported. If your country is not supported by EC payroll as of now, so still you can use customize your Molga 99. That is still supported. Okay, so that is the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Actually, about Egypt, I'll tell you. So when I was doing that UK project, Egypt was already there. But yeah, I mean, you can use Molga 99, but Egypt in ECP has been around since 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Molga 99 can also be used. If there is any country which is not supported, it can be used using that international payroll.
No, that is actually I know from my understanding, like the recent note whatever SAP has released in the
Yeah.
current quarter, they have told like they have added Egypt in this quarter. So that was just I'm
Yeah,
referring.
yeah,
I have never worked on Egypt payroll to be honest with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So that's
Egypt
one
payroll is simple, but what could have happened? Egypt
of.
payroll in ECP was
Hmm.
already there. I'm telling you because back
Okay.
in the day, we used to have back and forth with
Hmm.
SAP. Uh,
Hmm.
have you would have come across this concept in payroll, right? Gross up functionality in
Hmm.
taxation. So it
Yes. Yes.
wasn't available for Egypt back in the day in ECP.
Okay.
So
That's good to know. Good to know.
so SAP said, I mean, we don't have any plans to do it at the moment. You can copy the gross up function either from UK or some other country and customize it a bit. But maybe they would have released some year-end reporting. However, their schema and all the SPRO nodes, they were very much available for Egypt since 2016, and they were
Okay.
supporting us whatever was needed in ECP
Nice.
Egypt.
Good to know. Good to know that, Lokesh. And same with your UAE also. Previously, we are using 99, but now it is an AE. That is a country grouping AE we are using. Okay, but that is again 1 year or 2 year back. I'm not able to recollect that. But you are not using Molka 99 for United Arab now. So same goes with them. Mm. So these are some frequently asked questions. Just I had to just to go through. Okay. Then when it comes to offering type, okay. So the deployment model which I was talking about means this is actually 4 types of deployment offering. Actually, SAP is offering now. So like on-prem, your cloud basic AMS, cloud full AMS, fully outsourced, and it is depending upon your employee headcount and how what is the service level agreement you are having with your customer. Okay, so these are different deployment options from an project management point of view or a pre-sales point of view. You have to understand it. So which offering model you are opting for, your client is opting for. Okay, so this is not, this is
What's
nothing.
the difference between first two, fully outsourced and fully
Okay, so
cloud full AMS?
those are detail actually I kept in this upcoming slide. So like if you go through the 2 things. So this is
I mean,
I was
we
talking
don't have to
about.
jump. We can do it in a sequential manner. Please go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, okay, no problem, no problem. So the difference, if you see the in every service level, they have a customer audience, means who are the target audience or target customer they have mentioned here. Okay, so suppose I'm saying talking about partner managed cloud. So that means here partner refers to your implementation partner. Okay, so implementation partner will be doing everything. Okay, so whoever is the implementation partner, they will be doing all the configuration, all the even the admin work also, admin activities even they will be doing. So those kind of service offering, that is again it is also offered by SAP Consulting as well. Okay, so in those cases whether you're choosing a partner or you're choosing SAP Consulting, that doesn't matter, but the service level will be fully outsourced. That means your customer will be responsible for only running the payroll. Okay, so those activity, otherwise all the maintenance and all, so it will be done by your partner. So it is a kind of a BPO model, the like the ADP is doing these days. ADP, and there are many payroll vendors. Suppose if you're outsourcing your entire payroll to some organization, they will be doing all the things for you. Okay, so which are the suitable customer profile? So like you will be seeing, so these are the 6 or 7 pointer I have just maintained here. Who are the suitable customer profile? If they require high level of service for your entire AMS as well, not only the implementation, your any kind of AMS. So this second point is most important one. Your full AMS, including your legal change management. So whatever the legal change management you are doing at a process level or it is a SAP level, okay. So all these things will be done by them. Okay, so that is your partner managed cloud. Okay, and similarly your payroll processing, your tax deposit filing, okay, any kind of admin activities, okay, your time and attendance activity or any kind of benefit services you're integrating with your payroll. So all these things they will be taking care. Okay, so this is a completely as I was mentioning, it is a partner managed cloud. So it will be actually I have already mentioned here, it is a channel program whereby SAP partner will be delivering the entire offering. Okay, this is a complete offering by the partner, implementation partner. The customer can choose which partner to choose. Otherwise, if they want SAP to do itself, then accordingly the pricing will vary from partner to SAP and all. But this is one of the key offering where exactly you can completely outsource your payroll. Okay, so like everything will be done by your this is a kind of BPO model you can say. So they can decide which service. So again, if you talk to your customer or SAP, say they will be giving, like, suppose if you want some specific services only, then accordingly your price will vary. So I am not going that detail because that's again a sales pitch kind of thing. So you have to talk to your partner or those kind of SAP counterpart. So what are the services you need, and accordingly they'll be charging for you. Okay. So this is one of the model whenever you are working for a entire out of this 4 this is a high level of service, means all the services will be provided by partner, implementation partner or the payroll partner. So that is the high, you can see the y-axis, it is fully outsourced, means that service level is fully outsourced. That is actually your partner managed cloud. And employee count, it can vary from 500 to anything beyond 2 lakhs also. Okay, so that is your fully outsourced service level. And next one, whenever we're talking about the cloud full AMS, so there is again the service will be little minimized here. Okay, so like here what you can do, it is again a subscription model. Okay, what is the responsibility of the implementation part, and what is the suitable profile for the customer? So in this case, so the suitable profile will be like if the client is already a customer of your on-premise HCM and payroll, okay, and they are planning to deploy Employee Central, and they are also looking for EC payroll and time. Okay, so in those mostly whatever I have seen in my project, this is actually the ideal scenario. SAP SuccessFactors solution for managed payroll. So many a customer they go for it, and they do have complex time management and benefit requirements. Okay, suppose if you are talking about, suppose you have custom schema, custom things you have already done in your time and payroll, so then you can go for this offering of it. Okay, and they do have also existing any kind of system modifications. Okay, so those things you have to tackle in the initial days of your implementations. Okay, so this is again actually SAP payroll hosted and supported in the cloud. Okay, so this is we call it managed payroll, SAP SuccessFactors solution for managed payroll. Okay, the first one is fully outsourced, second one is cloud full AMS. Okay, and the third offering, again it will be, again as we come down here in this hierarchy, the service offering will be limited again. Okay, so like there are some limited services and it is required. So whenever I'm talking about cloud basic AMS, so here in this offering, what SAP and your partner will be doing, SAP recommends at least you have 2000 employees. Okay, so like if you're going for this to make a benefit, the ROI, the return of investment of your entire payroll project, at least you should go for, if you're having a headcount more than 2000 employees, and your EC, actually it is a prerequisite for it, and you can go for any of this product for time management, like a time, EC time or workforce software or third party for time requirement. Okay, and similarly for benefit, you can go for third party benefit or benefit focus or EC benefits. There is nothing wrong in that. And whenever the mostly whatever, if you see from my project experience, so I will be telling, mostly we go for the second or third. Okay, so I have seen the fully cloud AMS and or cloud basic AMS. If the client has a good budget or they have more complication, they would like to outsource. Generally, they go for fully outsourced. Otherwise, the second and third options are more prevalent. Okay.
This is really good. I like the fact you have put employee count also into the context. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
This second one, now I remember while you were talking about it. So the second one is the one where these companies, right? NGA, APUs, they come into the picture. Your on-premise solution, they will host for you, basically, right? That's the whole idea with the second one. But second one will not last beyond 2030. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Right?
Yeah. Cloudful MS. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
That is
very
a
nice.
fact. That is a fact. Actually, many people they do not want this. You're the first person you appreciated this slide, but exactly many people directly they want jump into the configuration, right? So they even lost interest whenever I explain these things to them. It will be relevant for them in the at least whenever I talk to you, the customer. But you are the first person who actually appreciated this this model actually.
This is really, really good, Niladri. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I'll enjoy each and every slide, and especially the configuration bit also, because I mean, actually, when we will discuss later, maybe at day 4, day 5, I'll tell you, for last 2, 3 years, 4 years, I've been involved into something very core payroll specific with APUs, but I've been away from the subject, and this is very nice. It's bringing a lot of things back, and you have put these slides in such a nice way with employee context and everything. It's beautiful. I mean, I'm enjoying it.
Thank you very much, Lokesh, for your nice word. So the last one, the offering which I'm talking about, it is not yet released. That is SAP HCM or on-premise for S4 HANA. Okay, so that is yet to be done. And SAP call it actually sidecar approach. You must have heard it. They call it sidecar approach. If you go any blog in SCN, if you start typing sidecar SAP HCM, then they will be talking a lot on this topic. Okay, so why it is required? Actually, SAP is planning to do it as per their roadmap, current roadmap. It is subject to change, but at present they are planning S4 HANA on-premise for SAP HCM with EC payroll approximately 2023. Another 3 years to go. Okay, so actually this is the offering. It's a fully integrated with your SAP S4 HANA, and it will be deployed in a separate instance. And they call it, for that reason they call it a sidecar. Okay, so what it will do, it is for those customers who are existing customer of your on-premise payroll and they are not ready to move to the cloud. There are certain customers, especially in whatever I have seen, the resistance in the European market as well, so from Germany and some other countries as well. So they do have resistance to move to some of the customers. Okay, I'm not talking about everyone. Some of the customers, they do have they are actually not ready to move to the cloud, and they want the offering at least to till 2030. For means last 7 years, the period 2023 to 2030. For those 7 years, the SAP will be releasing a separate product or separate instance for them, so that they can plan in those 7 years at least. And after 2030 again, they may go for the other three options, whichever I have explained to earlier. just SAP also listen to them. So many of the customers, they would like to go for other vendor, leaving SAP, whoever using. So for that reason, SAP just gave this suggestion. They will be planning it in 2023, and they will be supporting till 2030. Okay, so this is the last one, which is yet to come. So these are the four different offering models, so which I have discussed. Okay, so then let's go to our core topic. That is your first one is your, as I was mentioning, from a certification point of view as well, the admin part will be discussing, like your in the initial today and tomorrow we'll be discussing, or whatever you are free, we'll be discussing the initially the admin side of the entire EC payroll. Okay, so in admin side, what are the topics we'll be covering? So approximately we'll be talking about all this topic, like manage user access, EC payroll, introduction, which I've already covered it, like payroll control center, the front end part, how it has been revamped in the compared to the earlier payroll control center, that I will showcase you in the system itself. And from a localization point of view, what are the additional countries they have added? Okay, and those things all will be discussing. And certain things actually generally I do not talk a lot, like it is core employee data. This is because it's very simple, like how to maintain an employee data, how to manage those employee data. For that reason, I just put it across a DIY symbol, do it yourself. Okay, so like for these two topics, like how to employ, this is very basic thing. Okay, so nothing difficult. Okay, but I'll be covering details in the payroll control center basics, the fundamental of the how the front end it will be looking like, and I'll just going in the system as well. Okay, so this is actually the part A of our entire EC payroll learning journey. Okay, and for that, actually this is an admin pathway. So the entire learning journey, the curriculum whichever I have included in my this all-in-one guide, it is very simple, like the initial PTO guide we have to refer, and there is a respective admin guide as well. So PTO guide as usual, generally before what I do generally in my typical implementations, before going for the initial workshop, I share this PTO guide, okay, at least 15 days before to the customer, so that they will be just familiarizing themselves with the terminology at least. Okay, so that they will not be a Greek or German on the day one whenever I'll be just showing the demo. Okay, so for that reason, I always prefer to share this PTO guide at least 15 days before the initial workshop or the kickoff call. Okay, so then second one is your admin guide. This is a purely admin training guide, and you can leverage this admin training guide for all your admin training, like before once you complete your payroll implementations and all, you can leverage it. Okay, so that is from a documentation point of view, and same thing actually I incorporated in the this initial document. So PTO guide, if you go through, just anyway I'll be sharing this document with you for your initial reading and all, and nothing much difference. So they have explained the from a project management point of view as well admin point of view, what are the things are there. Okay, so this is PTO guide you have to go through. And also one key thing in PTO guide, just I would like to call out, the concepts are fine, but the key thing is after completion of a topic, they have given a questionnaire. Okay, so those questionnaire actually you have to ask to your customer if you are implementing. This is the point. So we have completed 20 pages, then say in this there is a decision checklist. So whenever you are meeting your customer, so it is very, even I use this. So even what are the key question you will be asking, and what are the key decision you have to make in a typical your meeting setup or your kickoff meeting or any kind of workshop you're conducting. Okay, so this kind of question you have to ask, like first of all you will be explaining anyway the system, how system looks like, and then what kind of thing you will be requiring. Means all these things you have to take as a decision checklist. Okay, so this decision checklist is across this module. Okay, so this admin guide, this is the key takeaway from your PTO guide. That is for you I'll be explaining. Okay, so if you see, these are very easy. Employee management, how to manage those data. This is very easy to understand and very easy to follow. Okay, but the key thing as a consultant, like for us, the key thing is we have to take those decision checklist. So you can prepare a decision checklist in an Excel sheet. You can take those questions. You can have some additional questions as well, depending upon the industry or depending upon your whatever scenario. Okay, so you can have those questions and you can just prepare those decision checklists. Now you can see after another 10-20 pages, system means they have also mentioned this set of questions, how frequently data will be replicated, how which of the following three changes will trigger a payroll task. It can be hiring event, it can be promotion event. It will subject to change depending upon your customer. So these are the actually from a PTO guide. These are the takeaway from it for a consultant. Okay, so there are takeaway for admin as well, but from admin side it is easy. But for a consultant, what are the things you have to take away from this PTO guide is this is a decision checklist which I just highlighted here. Okay, so these are the key questions you have to ask to your customer whenever you are conducting your discovery or the initial workshop. Okay, so that is the way actually I leverage your PTO guide. Okay, so this is actually all the relevant questions they have already mentioned here. So you do not have to worry about what question I'll be asking. So as you're already an expert in EC or your payroll, okay, so those questions whichever relevant for on-premise, anyway, you will be asking that. And for that, what I have done, so I have prepared a workbook for that as well. Like in the on-premise, you must have seen, you must have used business blueprint concept. Okay, so on the top of that, still same configuration you'll be doing. So like I have prepared a documentation like all those on-premise configuration as well. So if the client is very new to on-premise as well, so you can leverage this workbook. So there is no concept of workbook in the on-premise days. Okay, some people have used KDS, that is a key data structure, or some people have innovated little like this way. But what I've done, I have created a workbook for on-premise payroll as well, where exactly you can if the client is already a customer of SAP, you can take those requirements in this particular template and those specific configurations or the period parameter date modifier, whichever is there, you simply go and you can capture their specific configuration. And if it is not there, then you have to again start from scratch. Okay, so this is workbook also I'll be sharing with you. It will be helpful. So this was
this workbook was related to on-premise, or it had the checklist also, which you were showing as part of your PTO?
No. This workbook actually I purely prepared it for on-premise. Okay, so whenever I was working for Canada and US, all those payroll, so I have created it from scratch. So instead of taking requirement in the Word document, I preferred to use Excel sheet. Okay, so for that reason, you will be seeing it is covering everything on your not only for payroll, for your entire OMPA time payroll. All the 4 modules are here, but only I have highlighted the green area, that is your these are payroll specific. If something is additional, you can put it here. Otherwise, as I was mentioning, those decision checklist also you can prepare a sheet here and you can ask your customer that they are all. Sometimes what happens, if you are working with a HR transformation consultant, many times I work with them. So they do what they do generally before implementation of a project, they do some kind of change management survey. Okay, so you can whatever questions you should have asked, you can give those questionnaire to them. If you're working with a typical consulting environment, like somebody who is taking care of your change management, there are a change management consultant as well, suppose in your organization, then you can outsource, means you can give those questionnaire to them and they will be asking nicely those questions, they will be taking a survey. So these things you can do, but if it is not, it is a purely implementation project, so then directly you can ask those questions in the customer discovery workshop or the kickoff meeting itself. Okay, so this decision checklist. You can also add this decision checklist as a pointer or as a work sheet in this workbook. But when it comes to EC payroll, there is a separate workbook for it. Okay, so that I'll be discussing later on. You can also merge those two things in a single workbook. There's no harm in doing that. Okay, so that I'll be explaining you later on. But for the time being, this is the decision checklist. Generally, this is a must be asked to your customer. Okay, so if you've already asked, like if you're already understanding, like when I'm talking about the waste type, so you must have those data, like which waste types will be taxed, which waste type to be not to be taxed. Okay, so if it is already part of your, it is already the client has given the information, still you have to maintain in a note like these are my pay component. Pay component is nothing but your waste type, what we call in the on-premise EC payroll. So all those information, just you have to take a requirement. It's a kind of a requirement gathering. Okay, so in those cases it will be helpful. But that was my takeaway. Whenever I see a PTO guide, actually this was really helpful for me. This is a decision checklist, so that if I can prepare myself and also ask to the customer what are the things you have to do, and those details I can go ahead. So regarding this, next one is, I'll be going to, let me go back to the slide again. So in this, we'll be talking about more. This is again this very basic one. I'm not explaining you like what is payroll and all. So it is not required at all for somebody who is 10 plus, 12 plus years experience. Okay. But what are the limitation? I will just highlight here. In a typical on-premise, what was the limitations? Before we start, can you just guess, Lokesh? Before we go to that slide.
I mean, limitations of on-premise or?
Yeah, on-premise,
Okay.
on-premise.
I mean, the first and the most important one is what I have seen. I mean, after working with experienced payroll managers who did not have SAP experience, but they were very knowledgeable people, but they never liked the idea of transaction codes. So,
Okay.
right, that's the biggest limitation and very layman limitation. They don't like it. And in EC payroll, you have an opportunity to get rid of it. You don't have to rely on T codes. You have this beautiful payroll processes, payroll steps, that whole activity of pre-payroll, payroll, post-payroll processing has been arranged really well in your PCC. So you can get rid of that old nightmare of transaction codes. That's my
Very, yeah, very
biggest,
true. Yeah, it is for everyone.
yeah.
That nightmare of T codes and all of reports, the payroll log. Suppose if you are getting any error, the administrator can't analyze the error immediately, okay, because it will say some language which the admin can't understand. Sometimes it says if info type 9 is missing, sometimes they will be understanding. But if it is something, some error, sometimes typical error, if the payroll log analysis is also an important activity. The payroll admin generally, if they are not knowledgeable, they're not an SAP guy, they will not be able to solve by themselves. Okay, but here in EC payroll, you'll be seeing all those has been eradicated. Okay, so like as you have already clearly mentioned, this is more transactional, and there is a no little transparency. So whenever you are doing an activity, if you are getting any error, it is little difficult for them to find the root cause of the error, why that error happened. Okay, so they have to always go back to a support consultant, or they themselves, if they are an expert in understanding and analyzing the error. So the why part of it is little difficult, and it was difficult. So in the payroll on-premise, okay. So for that reason, we have came up with this concept of alert, how to create those alerts, how to create those validations rules, so that upfront you can solve those things. Okay. So as you have already clearly mentioned, there is no little transparency, and it was completely transactional. Okay. So it was payroll pain point was actually also another thing, there was no pre-payroll check. Even the simulation was there, even if it is successful, you can't have those reporter. You understood, like waste time reporter, total gross, total taxes. For that, you can't run a report because there was no your cluster generated for your pre-payroll. Simulation payroll, there is no cluster thing. Okay, but in the EC payroll, we do have a separate cluster for that, and we can access for that reason those simulation also. We can access those report everything. Okay, so the pre-payroll check was one of the key lack of transparency, you can say, to some extent. Okay, so it was more transitional, as you have rightly mentioned. Okay, so this is the second, the point what you have suggested, like the pain point, and the pain point that it is more transitional and not user friendly. Like every time you have to remember the transactions. So I have seen also many of the customers, they have to put, at least in the initial days, their entire transaction codes, the cheat sheet, they have to paste it in their desktop, near desktop, or is a sticky note. Okay, all those transactions they used to do it. Otherwise, they could have also they have done the favorite section, the SAP favorite they have done, but still it was more transactional in nature. It was not very much user friendly, and understanding the log was also not very. It is little technical, and it was hard to understand. Okay, so these are the different pain points, and also whenever from a reporting point of view as well. So you have to. It was also a transactional in nature, as I was mentioning. You can't run reports in the simulation data. Whatever simulation data you are having, you can't run those reports, and you have to always suppose you are doing a comparison between total gross for the last month and the total gross for the current month. you have to download two separate reports and compare all those things. But otherwise, you could have created a custom report for a comparison. Okay, but with SC payroll, we do have specific KPIs for that, for gross comparison, net comparison. We do have KPIs and all. So with that, EC payroll, these are the different selling points. I will generally say. So whenever your customer is not ready to go for EC payroll, these are different selling points you can tell. You can convince your customer. So this is again from a EC payroll point of view, like payroll control center. It is a vast pre-payroll functionality. It has a terrific user experience. So these are different selling points in your EC payroll. KPI is maintained properly, and it can be presented and it can be updated real time without you have to go to any detail about it. Okay. So these are different selling points in your from a system audit point of view as well. Those you do not have to go through technical payroll results. Okay, whatever I have seen in a typical audit project. Suppose if you are working for a payroll audit project, so you have seen means you'll be seeing people spend a lot of time like to the year-end activities and what are the changes the entire year. Is there any discrepancies? Any manual things has been done outside the system? So those are very means even if you're doing any kind of manual things outside the system, there is nothing to maintain inside SAP. But in EC payroll, we have a concept of maintaining note. Okay, inside EC payroll, you can maintain note if you are doing anything outside the system, and you can always refer those audit trail. Okay, so those are the different key advantages of your EC payroll and all, and reducing the processing time. Yes, all those things. It is more interactive. It is more real time, on demand. You can say. So these are the different things, and you are already knowing this payroll control center, the process from point of view. We have what we call it the processes, your pre-payroll, that is your one-click monitoring, and your production payroll. Payroll follow-up means it can be your finance posting, or it can be any kind of reporting related to that. So these are different processes which actually part of your payroll control center, which you will be seeing in the system as well. Okay, and when it comes to the policy, so the key difference between your process and policy is your policy will be containing all the validation rules. So at present, we do have approximately 30 plus validations rules, which is provided by SAP EC payroll, and many of the customers, many of the implementation partner actually, they themselves also create some additional validations rules, and they put it across as a selling point for from their product enhancement. Okay, so those validations rules are nothing but the kind of suppose I'll be giving an example like info type 9 is missing for an employee, so you have to stop means before running the payroll, at least you check that and you have to rectify that. You maintain that employee's info type 9. So those kind of things, it can be pre-built in your validation tools, which is again it's a part of your policy. So how to define those policies, how to define those processes, that will be seeing in the backend system, like in that as a part of your PCC backend configuration. But for the timing, we have to understand what is the policy, what is the process. Okay, so these are some basic concept of your payroll control center as an admin. Okay, so we'll be seeing all these things.
So we'll be seeing it in future, right? The difference between or more details of a policy, process, and validation rule, right?
Yeah. We'll be seeing. So for time being, I'm just going through the presentation, and I will go in the system as well, like how a typical payroll processes and processes your policies looks like. The front end I will showing as well as your backend system. Backend system I will covering the part C of your EC payroll, which is actually
what's the difference at high level between policy and KPI and a validation rule at a high level?
Okay. So KPI means, so I'll just start from KPI. So let me go to your that presentation. Okay. So if you see this particular screen, so we have there is something called payroll amount analysis. Okay. Suppose if you're doing a payroll amount analysis in this particular thing, you'll be seeing there is a total gross comparison, total net comparison, there is a total taxes, total employer taxes. So all of these tiles, these are like nothing but your different KPIs. Okay, so like this is actually for 10% increase in the total gross. So these are actually your different tiles. Actually, we can refer it as a KPI. Okay, but when it comes to your, as you have rightly asked, when it comes to your validations, Okay, so like validation will be kind of a rule. Okay, suppose you are writing a restriction. Okay, so let's say your info type 6 is missing for 5 or 10 employees. Info type 9 is missing for those 10 or 20 employees. And new employee have been hired in this current month, June 2020, but their master data, so and so master data has been missing still. Okay, those are actually the checkpoint which will be coming under your this alert assignment. Okay, suppose you are putting those as a validations. Okay, and if you are finding those as a system or giving an error, like for this employee, you do not have this this validation is not working for them, means it is failed. This validation has been failed, so you have to revisit your employee master data for this many employees. Okay, so that is a part of your validation. And policy is nothing but your set of validation rules. Suppose I do have a policy related to master data. I am talking about master data. So I have created 5 different validations rules. So under that, I have mentioned like info type 9 is missing, info type 6 is missing, info type say some national ID related info type is missing. Without that, I'm not good to go with my EC payroll. Okay. So these are, suppose there are 5 different validations rules. You bucket it under master data policy. Say you will just mention your client name underscore your say master data policies, and put those 5 validations rules into that particular, bundle those into the particular your policy. Similarly, you can have a different set of validation rules for garnishment, or different set of validation rules for your taxation. Okay, so if something is wrong in those, then those alert or those validation rules you can bundle together, and you can put those in a different policy. Okay, it can happen your client have multiple policies. Depends, suppose you are also having a travel related policies. Okay, so if you are doing the, if you are not using SAP Concur, and if you are still doing in through a regular payroll run in your EC payroll, or if it is off cycle payroll run, you can maintain a travel policy. Okay, like this, if this is my waste type, is the amount is, if it is exceeding say $1,000, then it should give an error. Okay, so those kind of validation rules you can combine, and you can be bundled under a bucket. This bucket is called your policies, and those individual component, whatever the individual component or rules you have created, okay, which is, it can be provided by SAP, or it can be customized, which you have already created with help from ABAP. Those are called actually the validation. And KPIs, actually these are different, these are completely different. So this will be like your whichever the diagram I have shown you, it like total gross comparison, total net comparison. Okay, so all these things in this screenshot, whatever you are seeing, this can be a good example of your KPI. I hope it is clear now, Lucas.
No, it is very good to start with, and all I was
Okay.
looking for a high level explanation, you know, just to set some context, but very nice.
Okay, thanks, Lucas. So we'll be seeing how to configure these things, and that we'll be seeing in the payroll control center core configuration. But for the time being, you understand this is actually the definition. Even the, if you are because it is a little difficult to explain, as you have rightly asked, this question also can be asked by the customer as well, so that you can give the similar examples like this is what is a policy, what is a process, what is a different process. Is very simple. Process is like, it can be a pre-payroll process, then your post-payroll process, it can be a production payroll run. Those are actually processes, very easy to explain. But the difference between this policy, validation, KPI, and alert. Alert also people ask, what is the difference between this alert and validation tools? So alert is a kind of an output. Okay, so whenever your something is failing, okay, that will be coming as an alert to the admin. And your admin, as a payroll administrator or EC payroll administrator, he or she will be responsible for solving that alert. Otherwise, he can delegate that alert to someone else in the team. Okay, so depending upon your complexity of the scenario, that we'll be discussing in length in the future. Okay, so for the time being, this is actually, you have to understand each and every terminology, and I will recommend you to go through this PTO guide at least once. Okay, so it is not very difficult to read, so it is highly readable. So I will suggest, it is also around approximately 70 pages. So they have defined like what is the KPI, as I was mentioning. Okay, so they have explained the same whatever I have explained here. Okay, so what is comparison? So they've just given some clear example here, whatever I explained you in the presentation. Okay, similarly, your what is an alert? Okay, how a typical alert will be looking like. Okay, similarly, this alert assignment, this one I'll be talking about in the next session. Okay, so this how to assign those alert, how if you're you are an administrator, how you'll be assigning the specific alert to your team member. That I'll be showing you in the next session. But for the time being, I will just ask you this kind of a pre-read for you for the next session, and immediately I'll be sending this document to you, and so that you can go through it. And then in the next session, we'll be seeing all those detailed. In fact, I'll be showing the system as well, like how we'll be going through. But here, the most important topic, whenever you are going to this PTO guide, like at least you go through this decision checklist. As a consultant, this is very important for us, so that we can ask the right question at the right time, at the right customer. Okay, so these are the different decision checklist. At least this is the main important part. The remaining part actually is not very difficult. I'll be showing in the system so that you can relate to it. Okay, so any other questions before we wind up for today?
No, I've made a note of this one, Niladri. So there are two decision checklists, right? Sorry, two PTO guides.
No. One PTO guide. Second one is called your admin training guide. Okay.
Okay, so let me make a note. And it is attached on which slide number? I'll definitely go through it before tomorrow.
Just ping the page number 1 to 72. Just check your chat box. I'll just entering that. Anyway, this is already 1 to page number 72. That is your PTO guide, which is for the before kickoff meeting or before you conduct the workshop. You will be sending this presentation, or you can modify whatever you're using your company logo and all. You can send it to the customer. That is a PTO guide, page number 1 to 72. Page number 73 onwards, actually it is called admin guide. Actually, it is the official admin guide for certification as well. So page number 73 onwards, what we will do, we'll be going the topics which are more relevant and which we actually will be. I'll be taking a live session approach. Like in the system itself, I'll be showing how there are some couple of assignments as well. There are some around 10 plus assignments. So those assignments will be running in the system. Okay. The most relevant one will not be trying to add an employee. Those are very simple one will not be doing. Only those are little requires something. Okay, any changes. Okay, that I'll be explaining you. And this admin guide, it will be run till approximately that page number will be your. Let me go to that presentation. Yeah. So this will be your page number 73 to 180. So this is your admin guide, and it is officially released by SAP. Okay. This is the second guide, and the third guide is actually it is a solution for that. So whatever exercises we are having in the admin guide, all those solutions are given in the third guide. That is your 181 to 389. Even if you're not having access to
Yeah. Are you still talking? Hello. Hey, Niladri. Hello.
all those steps, actually I bundled it together in a right place so that do not have to confuse.
Niladri, I lost you for last 1.5 minutes. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay. So what I was explaining, I was just mentioning the page number. So can you see the chat box? PTO I have mentioned page number 1 to 72, and admin guide is from 73 to 180, and 181 onwards it is a solution part.
Okay.
So the solution, whatever the in the admin guide, whatever exercises we are having in the admin guide, all the solutions are covered in your page number 181 till page number 389, approximately 200 pages. All those solutions are there. But again, if you try to go through this in the system, it will not take more than 4-5 hours. Okay, not more than that. Okay, so that is overall. Then your page number 390 onwards, your part 2 starts. That is a part B. your point-to-point those topics. So anything else you require?
So, no, this is good. So, what am I going through before tomorrow? Just PTO?
Yeah, for timing, you just go through, concentrate on the PTO, that because that is again huge, not huge, but it is more readable. For that reason, I will recommend to go through it. And the admin guide is actually detailed explanation. So whatever you are seeing in the PTO guide, it is actually the extension of your PTO guide, admin guide. So nothing different. Okay. So I would recommend you go through the PTO guide, at least the decision checklist. So whatever the decision checklist you are having, just you analyze whether if you had been in an EC on-premise or an on-premise payroll, what question you would have asked. If you are having an EC payroll, what different question you will be asking. So from that angle, you just give a thought of your own, and you may write down these things in a just put it across in an Excel. What I will do today immediately, I'll be sending the entire document, this all-in-one guide version 2. I'll be sending to you, as well as this payroll on-premise, this workbook I'll be sending to you, so that you can make a note, start making note in this workbook itself. Okay, so it will be easy for you whenever you are working in a typical EC payroll implementation in the future. Okay, is that fine?
No, this is really good.
Okay.
Yeah. So tomorrow